major deal for Carolina. Go back last year. They thought that they were going to get Milton Williams from the Philadelphia Eagles, and then at the last second, Milton Williams signs with the New England Patriots. They come over the top with a Godfather offer. The Panthers needing to get a pass rusher, okay, wanting to enhance that defense. And the last week or so, it has seemed like the Eagles would be able to retain Jaelan Phillips. That was what every sign was pointed to and continued to point to until today. But Dan Morgan, the general manager, Brant Tillis, the money guy, number 2 there in personnel in Charlotte, they get Jaelan Phillips. Remember, the Eagles sent a 3rd-round pick to the Miami Dolphins at the trade deadline in order to get Jaelan Phillips. He balled out for him, and so the thought was, all right, they're going to retain a Jordan Davis. They're going to try to retain a Jalen Carter, and they're going to keep Jaelan Phillips, and that's going to be their young core up front and get out of some of those older contracts, right? Nope, didn't work out. Carolina Panthers come over the top with a major offer to Jaelan Phillips and get their pass rusher of the now and the future.
All right, JJ, let's get instant reaction. Ben, I'll start with you. This is a move that immediately puts Carolina in that kind of next tier, right? Look at how this team played this year. Did anybody expect them to win that division, to compete in the playoffs with the Rams? For all intents and purposes, they won that game until Matthew Stafford went down for a 2-minute drill and kind of put the dagger in them. But for them to get Jaelan Phillips, shore up that defense, get a pass rush, I think that's going to help Bryce Young. I think that's going to help this team. I think this is a great signing by them. Pete?
If he's healthy. And he was healthy at the end of last year, and he played pretty well for the Eagles. But he is coming off major injuries, and so there's always concern there. But you look at their sack numbers of their edge players, they didn't get much production. They do have some young guys. Scarton from Texas A&M, they like him. But they paid money for DJ Wanham, and it didn't work out for him. So now you go get a guy that can help that pass rush. I don't think they're done on the defensive side of the ball. You hear they're going to be active at the linebacker position as well. So it'll be interesting to see who they go after there. Is it a guy like Devin Lloyd? Do you go get a Leo Chenal, somebody like that? Because they got to upgrade at that position as well.
I love that they have invested. I mean, Morgan and Brant Tillis, as Jonathan Jones pointed out, they've done a great job over the course of the last few years. And I think if I'm a Carolina fan, I'm like, stop talking about us, okay? We're coming along at our own speed. And to your point, they're competitive, and they were competitive in the playoffs. And I think that offense will keep getting better and keep maturing. And the defense, they'll just keep adding football players. And then next thing you know, nobody wants to play the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, credit to Dave Canales, credit to the front office of the Carolina Panthers, because you talk about the Eagles try to retain him, and he chose to go to Carolina. That's going to involve some money, bring him there for sure, but also he's going to a really good defense, a decent defense at least, right? Some of these teams that haven't been, I'll call them bottom feeders, or haven't been winning in a very long time, it takes a lot of money to convince a free agent to go there when contenders want you as well. So credit to them to make themselves enough of a contender to get premier young free agents like this, right, to build something. I look at that NFC South. I spent some time in it. The Bucs are losing their players this free agency. The Saints are coming, right? Now we'll see what they'll do in free agency with Tyler Shuck. Look at Atlanta. Right, they got some young players. They got to kind of rebuild here, and now the Carolina's saying, "Hey, this division might be wide open in the future." The NFC South used to be a great division and might grow to that again pretty soon, and Carolina might be a part of it.
But the biggest difference is the Bucs have the quarterback. The other guys have major questions at the quarterback position. All of them. You can talk about Bryce Young all you want, still a major question. Tyler Shuck, question, and so are with the Falcons what they have.
Guys, things are coming in fast and furious. JJ, what more can you tell us about an Indy wideout?
So the Indianapolis Colts just broke the bank for Alec Pierce. They kept Alec Pierce. But what does that mean when you keep Alec Pierce and you have Daniel Jones making nearly $40 million on the transition tax? Somebody has to go, right? Micheal Pittman Jr. has been traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Steelers, who have been in search of another wide receiver for, I feel like we've been talking about this for some time, right? Ever since the DK Metcalf trade last year. Now they go after and get Micheal Pittman Jr., who wound up being expendable for the Indianapolis Colts. So they're going to get the 28, 29-year-old wide receiver. He's coming off a season, just 784 receiving yards for the Colts. The Colts and Chris Ballard made a decision. They said, do we want to keep Micheal Pittman Jr. and lose Alec Pierce to free agency? Do we want to get up to that $28 million per year? They did with Alec Pearson, so they deal Micheal Pittman Jr. And when we come back from break, Tommy, I hope that I can promise you that we will have the draft pick compensation for this trade to Pittsburgh. Major deal for the Steelers.
No, we appreciate the info. Get more when you can, because we are up against the break here with our guys, with JJ. It's already been busy to start this two-day negotiating period here. Keep it right here on HQ. We will talk about the Pittman trade when we come back.
top 10 free agent list from the 100. Pete, Tyler Linderbaum, clear number 1 for you. How much time do you spend on that slot?
Yeah, he's a clear number 1 because of age and position and how important that guy is to the quarterback. So yeah, he's number 1.
That's been updated because George Pickens got tagged. He was originally 2nd or 3rd with Alec Pierce 3-4. But there's the updated list. Let's bring back our Jonathan Jones to talk about Pete Prisco's number 1 free agent. JJ, what more can you tell us about Tyler Linderbaum?
Tyler Linderbaum is about to be, by far, Tommy, the highest paid center in NFL history. Right now, that title goes to Creed Humphrey. He's averaging about $18 million per year. Tyler Linderbaum is going to blow that out of the water. It will be not just 20, not just 21. I feel like LeBron when he joined the Miami Heat, not 22, not 23. This could reach $24, $25 million. And that's, we're starting to get to the franchise tag area. But of course, the Ravens couldn't tag him because of the way that offensive lineman tags are figured. It's too high. You would do it for a tackle. You wouldn't necessarily do it for a center. But his market continues to grow. The team that you absolutely have to keep a close watch on, the Las Vegas Raiders, who have a whole lot of money to spend and a whole lot of need there along the offensive line. The Ravens do want to retain Tyler Linderbaum, but at some point, the money just gets too high. So that is what we have right now on Tyler Linderbaum, who at some point very soon is going to be extremely wealthy.
Yeah, it's interesting, those tag designations, as you mentioned, JJ. The offensive line kind of only gets their one department, and the defense has seen 2 or 3 different tiers depending on what position they play. What about Mike Evans? An entire career potentially with the Tampa Bay Bucks, but there's a lot of talk that he might move on. What's the latest with the wide receiver?
Yeah, he will be, in all estimation, he will be moving forward away from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm sorry, I'm getting the final numbers on Kenneth Walker III right now. And so we'll get to that in just a second, Tommy. But Mike Evans is checking out his market right now. We will see ultimately where he lands, but it does not appear that he will be back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It has not seemed that way really since this weekend. Not only is he testing free agency, he is going into free agency. And so when Mike Evans retires, I'm sure he'll sign a one-day contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But as it stands right now, it does seem that he will be going elsewhere. Teams that you certainly have to keep a watch on, the LA Chargers, who very clearly have a need. You wonder about the San Francisco 49ers, perhaps, always interested in collecting veteran players. The list could go on and on. The Chiefs are basically out of it. The Tennessee Titans are focused on Wan'Dale Robinson. But Mike Evans, it does not appear, will be back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
What about one of Baker Mayfield's other targets in Cade Otton?
Cade Otton will be returning. We're waiting on the final official details on the Cade Otton return, but he is going to be coming back. That is partly because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have some money to spend because Mike Evans is not going to be returning. So that is what we have. The latest on Cade Otton, keeping that tight end average 545 receiving yards per year over his first 4 years, about 3.5 touchdowns per season. So that is the latest with Cade Otton and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then lastly, Tommy, I promised you some numbers on Kenneth Walker III. Remember when that news broke, we were sort of estimating at least $13 million per year. How about at least $14 million per year for Kenneth Walker III? It is a 3-year deal worth $43.05 million, max value of $45 million, a major deal for Kenneth Walker, the Super Bowl MVP. What a couple of weeks for him, right? You go on that postseason run, you win the Super Bowl, you win Super Bowl MVP, and then you get paid like this to go to the Kansas City Chiefs and just keep it rolling with Patrick Mahomes. Hell of a job by Kenneth Walker III and his representation, Aura Sports.
Great stuff as always, JJ. Stand by and we'll come back to you with any new information or details. Busy day, of course, here on a Monday. Back here with the fellows. We're going to get to the Bucs conversation in just a bit, but again, we have the numbers finalized here for Ken Walker III. It only furthers each position that was on this table. Logan, you continue to clap for him.
Show me the money. I love it. He earned this, man, and he earned it by dealing with having to split carries. He didn't choose to split carries. He had to deal with having to split carries. And then when he had his opportunity, he produced when it mattered the most, delivered a championship, a Super Bowl there in Seattle. And we look like, oh my God, a running back's getting $14 million a year. That is half of what Alec Pierce is getting. So who has a bigger impact on the game of football? Kenneth Walker on the Chiefs or Alec Pierce, your number 2 wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts? Your number 3 or 4th option on the offense.
Well, he's the number 1 wide receiver, but
what is he in the option of getting the ball?
Tyler Warren is.
Because I got Jonathan Taylor's getting the ball.
Then Warren, then
right?
yeah.
So in that, as players, we feel as if, well, Kenneth Walker is definitely worth half of a number 2 wide receiver, or whatever you pay Alec Pierce. So that point is, that's what I'm saying. The money's not that crazy. The cap's going up. You got to be happy for Kenneth Walker.
By the way, I have to apologize to David Cantor, his agent, because on the field after the Super Bowl, I said he's not going to get more than James Cook. He got more than James Cook. But he shouldn't be getting paid more than James Cook. He's not better than James Cook. This is a big contract for a running back. I mean, you look at where he stacks up right now in average per year. He's right there, same average as Jonathan Taylor, ahead of Josh Jacobs, ahead of James Cook. I mean, so you look at this. This is a hefty contract for a running back. And, you know, you talk about what he did. He earned it. Let me just play devil's advocate here. Let's just say Charbonnet was healthy in the playoffs and he doesn't put up those numbers. Does he still get $14 million a year?
That's coulda, woulda, shoulda. We'll never know, brother.
You're paying him for 3 games.
I guess we'll never know.
You're paying him for 3 games, essentially, then. He earned that by 3 games. You paying him $14 million.
They say the best is yet to come with Kenneth Walker. That's what the Kansas
City
Chiefs see it as, and I think with their cast of characters, they can probably make that happen.
All right, we got more info here. JJ coming here.